so many dire warnings of Russian interference ahead of this vote, Moldova's governing party, PAS, has won the election comfortably. It's even taken a majority of seats in parliament. As the results came in, party officials themselves look surprised by the scale of their win. It means that PAS is free to push Moldova further along its path to EU accession and not be sucked back into Russia's orbit.
Recapping the top story this hour, political analyst in South Africa, Professor Begum Gomezulu, says the decision to disband the political killings task team in the KwaZulu-Natal province was a bad move. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Cholani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Hey, good morning and happy Monday, wherever you are on the continent, in the diaspora and the world over. We love having you here on Channel Africa. We are one big African family and we have conversations here that are from that African perspective. But first, who kickstarted us off in this Monday morning here in Johannesburg, South Africa is Peter Ndoro and Asanda Beta. Thank you so much to the morning team Africa, rise and shine there. But now it's 9:07 Central Africa time. And it's time for On the Move with myself, Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama, with you for the next 3 hours all the way until 12 p.m. Central Africa time. We have loads of conversations to go into this morning. So we welcome you to come in on channelafrica.co.za, on our audio bouquets at DSTV 802 and OpenView 628, and of course the SABC Plus app. Well, we're going to start off with our gender-based violence focus in the first hour of the show. We used to say as Africans, it takes a village to raise a child, and we also used to be so communal in the way that we see children, but it seems like that's fading away quite a lot, and that also means that it's harder for us to identify when children are in need of help. And in today's gender-based violence focus, we're speaking about how we can identify children who are directly affected by gender-based violence, and once we do identify them, how exactly do we help them? So this is a very important one for each and every one of us, because we need that communal support to raise these children. In the second hour, it's our African View debate. This is a great one that happens as usual. But first,
we love the debate.
How are you doing, Beijing?
I'm good. I'm very, very good.
Happy
Tell us
Monday.
a little bit about this one, because this is a trend that you've noticed on social media, buddy.
So I'm not the only one who's noticed this, but so many people, if you're a social media person like myself, people are going and posting videos of concern saying, why are Gen Zs and young people being increasingly conservative in the way they speak, in the way they dress, in the way that they also associate some social behaviors? It seems like they're moving backwards instead of forwards with all the liberations that we've tried to fight for them for in the previous generation. So today's African View debate is exactly that. Is Gen Z's rising conservative culture regressive to liberalism, or is it restoring moral decay in the continent?
Hey, sounds like a good one. We always love those debates on a Monday. So that's coming up in our second hour. Fitness and nutrition is going to be a very sexy feature today, because there are many ways to stay fit and healthy, but you probably never thought pole dancing was a form of exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we're looking at that, right? A more adventurous, maybe fun for other way to explore fitness through pole fitness. And I think we should also say it's not always to be confused with pole dancing, because pole fitness isn't always pole dancing. And so they're two very different things. But we're going to be looking at the use of that pole for fitness needs.
Yeah, and also pole dancing has become so mainstream.
It has.
And for many people, pole dancing is kind of a form of exercise in itself. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Katlego Mafotsa, who is the founder of Pole Culture and also is a health coach. Stay in touch with us. It is a Monday. We always want to know how you got going during the weekend. Let's link up once again. I know it was a very active weekend for you. It's the end of the month. And let us know where you are on the African continent and where you're listening to us from. Join us in our live stream on our Facebook page, on our live facility as well on YouTube. You can see our streaming as well there. And remember, we've got that WhatsApp number for you. Stay in touch in every subject matter. +2763 406 9126. And also the On the Move poll is coming up on that X handle a little bit later on. Go to @ChannelAfrica1 for that.
Madapiri bazoshitika. Madapiri bazoshitika.
boma la dziko la south sudan alengeza kuti wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dzikolo Riek Machar akuyenera kuyankha mlandu ofuna kulanda dziko wakupha komanso okonza ziwawa, ndipo mtolankhani wathu nkummawa kwa africa Afresa Unene akuwunikirapo.
muchikalata chomwe chinalengezedwa ndi nduna yoona zamalamulo komanso chilungamo ya dziko la south sudan, chikalatachi chinalengeza kuti wachiwiri kwa president wa dzikolo Riek Machar apezeka ndi milandu yokupha, yofuna kuwukira boma komanso kulanda dziko ndi kuyambitsa ziwawa. Riek Machar akhala akusungidwa mokakamizidwa ku nyumba kwawo kuyambira mwezi wa Marichi chaka chino. Mwezi wa Marichiwu asilikali omwe mbuyomu anali mgulu lomwe limagwira ntchito limodzi ndi a Machar anamenyana ndi asilikali a boma a South Sudan Defense Forces SPDF mu chigawo cha
Zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo, lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi Madapiri. Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
You know, we have a lot of amazing features here on The Move and on Channel Africa. And this is also becoming one of my favorites because we've usually placed conversations of gender-based violence in very small places where we're like, okay, 30 days for this, 10 days for that, or the day of recognition. But here at the SABC, we've decided to have a lot of gender-based violence-focused conversations as this continues to plague our society.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic initiative because we always highlight the fact, why are we only having gender-based violence conversations in a particular month?
Yeah.
And I think it's a very great act to see an all-year campaign that really focuses on this big issue that affects most of us.
Absolutely. And speaking about being affected, when we speak about gender-based violence, sometimes we speak about men and women, but we forget about children completely in this conversation. And it is these same children that may end up being adults that continue the cycle of gender-based violence. The African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," means that it's our responsibility to take care of the children and heal them, especially those who are directly affected by gender-based violence in their homes and in their communities. But how do you know? How do you know a particular child is affected? How do you identify children who are directly affected by gender-based violence? And when you have identified them, how exactly do we help them? Well, we're discussing this today with life coach and founder of Magents Let's Talk, Tebogo Majokana. Tebogo, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm great, and you, Palesa, and good morning to your listeners and your viewers, and Tate Moshatama, also good morning to you.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Tebogo, for joining us. Let's chat about this. It used to take a village to raise a child, but these days it's every man for himself. Gender-based violence is a very sensitive topic, even in our communities, because we see that, those are family matters and we should not get involved. Why is that problematic?
I think it changed thank you very much for the opportunity. I think when it changed, it takes a village to raise a child to what it is today. Is because of when somebody does or did something to your kid, parents are the first one to fight and say, who are you to tell my kid how to do things or reprimand my child? Because if you look back, depending on how old you are, so you'll never stand by the corner and be in a relationship holding hands or anything. And if you look today, every corner you go, you find kids that are just in corners, babambene, and doing stuff. It's difficult now to do anything because people will come back to you and say, "Who are you to reprimand my child?" So society has taken a back seat from reprimanding a child that's not theirs. So that's where the problem, I could say, started.
You know, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Just this weekend, in fact, I was having a conversation with a number of ladies, and they were speaking about the things happening in their communities. And this lady says, "Hey, there's this girl in our street. She's a
Sure.
teenager now, and her mother isn't always around. And so one day I saw her standing with a boy, and I tried to say something, but now she's giving me these looks. And her mother came to me and said, 'Hey, why are you, reprimanding my daughter? I know she's dating. So what?' And she said these
Sure.
words to her, to the mother. She said, 'You're saying this because you're not always around. So if you say we must stop reprimanding your daughter, one day we might see her being beaten up by a boy and we'll look the other way because you've stopped us from reprimanding.' And this is how our communities are thinking now that we're no longer that communal. How does this affect the children living in our societies, both in our direct communities, also in their schooling environment as well?
It is taking their voice away, Palesa. It is also taking their voices away because if a child is being affected from home with a lot of violence, a lot of gender-based, that they might have been abused by an uncle at home. Actually, I was talking about this with a friend the other day and saying, "Kore, it's so bad that kids will be affected, but nobody will even help the child because the kids, two things that they do, they will become moody or they will keep quiet or they will be very aggressive to the other kids because of what is happening in their own world. You find a child that is sexually affected at home, that a 10-year-old will not know what to do until an elder takes note of that. But they can also hide their feelings. That's one thing that I've also picked up with the generation that we are raising now, that they can be good in hiding their feelings and doing things as if they're okay. Until a trigger comes up, that's when you'll see that this child has a problem. And what we also need to look at is how does it also affect their schoolwork? Because if a child is an A child and all of a sudden, and a Sunday, a child becomes a F child. So we need to look back and say, how did this child move from being an excellent student to being a student that is failing their modules or their subjects? That's where we need to start sitting down with them and saying, are things okay at home? That's the first start. And if it's at home, parents also need to look at their child's behaviors because some of these things happen on the street and parents are not even aware. But also, we're hardly available for our kids. But we also need to look at that as parents. We are hardly available for our own kids when they're having their own challenges. What we do good as parents, we just push material to them. But when it comes to the emotional side, when it comes to them being bullied at school, when it comes to them being sexually assaulted by somebody else, we keep quiet about it. And yesterday somebody was saying to me, she worked somewhere, and this guy who was old enough to be her dad kept making sexual content with her. But she couldn't report the matter to HR because this person was really close to HR. They will laugh at it. So you see some of the things that we are dealing with. And I'm talking about a child that is about 2021. What we are dealing with when it comes to people opening up about what gender-based violence does to them. And at the end, they will open up to their own people.
Yeah, Tebogo, I want to push back to the direction that we're taking just a little bit because we all have kind of an independent way in which we want to raise our children. And you also want to create boundaries for outside your own family on how your child is raised and how they are managed in terms of certain issues. So I think to a large degree, many people are very cautious around how other people are reprimanding their children or are addressing them. From your perspective, I want to understand, how do you actually do that as a parent in a way that you don't isolate yourself from the community, but in the same time that you're creating boundaries where you're not getting other people outside of your own family unit to actually reprimand your child. And they can also do it in an abusive way as well. So it's not as if when people are reprimanding from outside of the family context, it's going to be constructive. Sometimes it can be negative. How do you balance the two? Because it is tricky.
It is a very tricky situation, but let's look back at what Palesa said earlier on to say that there's somebody that she knows. They were having a conversation friends, and this person said, "We saw your child doing X, Y, and Z," and the problem, the answer from the parent to the community member was, "We know that she's in a relationship." The first thing that we also need to look at before we reprimand people, guys, let's also look at the family dynamics. You know, there are families that are broken that if you say anything to build their kid, they will start saying, "Who do you think you are?" So look at the family dynamics first. And as a parent, also, what's your relationship with the parent that you are reprimanding the child for? Because, you know, we have stories whereby there are certain people that when they come to you and say your child is misbehaving, you listen to them. But there are people that when they come to you and say your child is misbehaving, you want to listen to them because of how you've always looked at them. So we are judged, and we are judging people based on who they are in society and community before they come to me and tell me about my child. If it's a pastor coming to me and saying your child is misbehaving, and the pastor of the church that I attend, because it's my pastor, I will take that serious. But if it's somebody that I have seen their children misbehaving, they can't come to me and say your child is misbehaving, yet their own child is misbehaving, constructing. So we have to look at it first to say, who are you reprimanding? What's your relationship with that person? What are the family dynamics that this child is? There are kids that when you can go to them and say, Nana, listen here, and why not our man? But there are children that you know, if you can say Nana Tamo, they'll say no, keep easy. So you can't reprimand a child. And also, let's also look at the tone that we are using. You know, we also need to look at the tone. Because when you go to Mwana with a condescending tone, they'll never listen to you. But if it's at a conversational space, they will listen to you. So we also need to look at that. Even when you approach their parents, approach them at the right time, guys. Let's not approach more to when they are also dealing with their own issues. And say, "I saw your child do this." It's started as a concern to say, "I'm concerned about this."
Yeah.
And because I've realized most of the time you're not home.
Tebogo, let's take a break because I think we can unpack all those dynamics. We're speaking to Tebogo Majokana, a life coach and founder of Majans Let's Talk. How do we deal with gender-based violence that affects the children in our communities? As a community itself, what do you think is the best way? Because we know that we all have different styles in our homes to actually parent, and then when you see a child doing certain things outside of their home, how do you as a neighbor address what the child is doing? Or you like, you know what, it's none of my business, I'm going to stay away from this one. Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +2763 406 9126. We'd love to hear from you.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The United States was very vocal at the beginning of South Africa's G20 presidency, and this is largely due to strained relations with South Africa at the time, that they were not really keen on participating. Where do they stand right now?
The US is planning to take over the presidency of the G20 next year, and our understanding from them is that they intend to continue to do so, and therefore it is quite difficult then to be in a situation where you are not attending deputies' meetings or discussions during our presidency and then to take over the presidency next year. From a finance track perspective, there has been engagement. We've been working on a communique last week and this week here in Zimbabwe. What's important about that is that it's a consensus document. And so all the members in the room have to agree to the language that is used there. And our US colleagues have been part of those discussions and negotiations.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, we are speaking on our gender-based violence series. It's been taking place throughout this year. We started the conversations a few months ago, and they're still continuing today as we look at gender-based violence from a perspective of how do we deal with gender-based violence that's targeted at children in our communities. At times, our communities see violence from outside of the home environment, and you're probably seeing maybe an abusive relationship of two teenagers. How do you as a neighbor intervene in that? How do we as communities interact with that particular dynamic? Because it is a big challenge, right? The question is, do I get involved? This is not my child. Or do I get involved because this is my neighbor's child? But even if I get involved, how am I going to deal with this Helping us on this one is our guest, and we're speaking to this conversation with Tebogo Majokana, life coach and founder of Magents Let's Talk. Tebogo, that's the thing, right? We live in communities, and those communities are important for us because they're not just communities that we want to feel isolated in. So even as a father or as a mother, if you have a neighbor, you are kind of in a situation where you do care what's happening next door, and the child next door probably feels like they could be my child because I have my own here, but I also have boundaries where I can't go beyond. How do we leverage this? Because I don't think neighbors speak about this enough, where you call your neighbor and you say, okay, you've got kids, I've got kids. Hey, just look around. Let's look out for each other. I think those are the conversations that we don't have anymore. I remember growing up, my grandmother used to have a neighbor friend, and she used to go to her house and she would say, you know what, I'm not going to be around because I'm going to come back late from work today. She was a domestic worker. Please look out for my two boys, my two nephews. They'll be in the house. They'll come back at school around this time. Please be on the lookout if they're safe or not. And definitely for sure, that neighbor would make sure that we are secure. Maybe we'd go fetch the house key from her, and she'll make sure that we are also under her supervision during that period when my grandmother is not around. But right now, I think we're not having those conversations, and that's why there's so many misunderstandings.
I think what we also need to go where it all started. I'll be honest to say what you just mentioned now. It was easy for you to say, look after my kids. And when we started having neighbors that started touching those kids that you say, look after my kids, everybody started saying, I'm not going to leave my kids with anyone.
Yeah.
And look at today, it's difficult to even go next door, local Paletswai, whereby it was an easy thing to do in the early 80s. We're going next door and saying, nobody will judge you. But today, you're scared to tell your neighbors that you're not home, because the same neighbors that you're telling that you're not home are the same neighbors that are telling the whole community that so we are now scared to keep security very high. So we rather take our kids with and leave the house early one. So that's where it all started. When we started looking at each other on the material basis that we have and saying, I'm not going to be talking about my family's situation, but Bastrating are going to gossip about that. And that's how we lost Tubarona. And that's why the violence and gender-based violence in communities, Sarona, is very difficult. So what we also need to do, we need to go back and restore that a moral generation as a society. When we have the check-in as community, when you start seeing there are kids that are affected by violence or gender-based or maybe sexual assault, and let's sit down as a community and start engaging and maybe have check-ins with the same kids and say, kids, Bastrata, let's sit down and have a conversation.
Sure.
What's really happening? You'll be surprised to find out there's a child that looks okay, but that child is badly treated.
Yeah.
But when the gates are open, this is the most jolliest child that you can ever find. But if you can start having conversations and check-ins as communities to just find out what are those things that our kids are dealing with, and you'll find that needs help because malume wa abuser, and families are also hiding those things. Families are very good in sweeping things under the carpet and say this ends here. Don't tell everyone about what is happening. And the sad part is some of these sexually abused kids, they go out and become sexual vultures. I'm sorry to use those words, because they are trying to take the pain that they haven't gone through and leave it with somebody else. You find somebody, I don't want to commit to anyone because I don't trust men. Because the first man that I trusted broke my virginity in not so good way. So I'm also going to go out and pay revenge on all these men for the man that broke my virginity. But that child was not even, the family was not aware that this child is going through emotions, because they're also having their own emotions and battles that they're fighting with. So it becomes a lot, as they say, it becomes guningi, because of Mama is looking after themselves, Gogo is looking after themselves, Malume is looking after themselves. And even as families, we don't sit down as families and have check-ins to just check because what if the neighbor that you leave the child with is the one that is abusing the neighbor?
Yeah.
There's a video that was trending about 2 weeks ago of a guy that was found in the field And the guy looked like Orobets Adiwan. And when people got closer, there was a 3-year-old under that guy.
Oh, goodness.
That is so painful.
So this guy was
Sure.
sexually abusing a 3-year-old.
Wow.
So that's how bad things have turned out in our communities, to say people are looking away. They will only take action when it's now bad or dire.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about emotional beings as a way of discussing the issues. And we need to go back to that. Let's start engaging as communities. But it's difficult, Palesa, if we're how are not in speaking terms. So how do we do that when me and my neighbors hate each other because she bought a new car and I'm still driving an old car? So how do we address the issue of GBV within the community if the same community hates one another?
All right, Deborah, we'll have to
Sure.
wrap it up there. It is such a, it's very nuanced. There's a lot of levels to this conversation, but it's
Sure.
also so sad to see, the degeneration within our own communities and that we're not really looking out for each other in the way that we used to anymore. But we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Where can we go really quickly, Deborah, to find you?
I can go to social media. It's Magents Let's Talk. Definitely you'll find me there. Or you can go under my personal page, Stebogo Majoka, and you'll definitely get me there.
Thank you so much. That is life coach and founder of Magents Let's Talk, Tebogo Majokana. Speaking about how we identify children directly affected by gender-based violence in our communities and how we can try to help them. It's 9:30 Central Africa time. Let's move on to get our latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
In this hour in our sports update, we tee off and serve with tennis news. Amanda Anisimova came through a marathon first set tie break to beat Shuai Zhang of China 7-6, 11, 6-love in the third round of the China Open in Beijing. The third-seeded American missed 6 set points and saved 3 of her own before finally securing the tie-break, 11-13. After the drama of the first set, Anisimova raced through the second set without dropping a game. She'll next face 13th-seed Karolina Muchova of the Czech Republic. In the meantime, Italian star Lorenzo Musetti produced a clinical display to defeat France's Adrian Manarino 6-3 and 6-3 in the round of 16 at the China Open in Beijing. Now we go to football news, where Kaizer Chiefs co-interim coach Cedric Kazi cut an animated figure during the team's progression into the second round of the CAF Confederations Cup preliminary qualifiers at the weekend. Kaizer Chiefs sporting director Kaizer Motaung Jr. says they were very strategic this season in recruiting not only quality and experienced players but also those who have played at the level of the CAF and the Confederations Cup.
Definitely does. I mean, part of the recruitment process was to get experience. People who've been there, done that, who can come and impart some of that experience into our younger players. And mind you, we've got younger players who were part of the reason why the club ended up going to the final. I think if we look at the squad and the team on the day that qualified us for the knockout stages, we had 5 academy players in the starting in that on the field at the time to be able to qualify for the knockout stages, Champions League, which we hadn't done before. So many of those players are still in our ranks. So it bodes well.
Motaung Jr. has explained why the club has not released most of their young players on loan this season. He says they believe that this is the best way to handle the players.
Oh, at the end of the day, if we didn't have the size of squad we had last year, given all the injuries that we had, we probably would have just been playing the league games and cup games with our DDC team, So we're very, very lucky to have the size of squad that we did have last year, with whatever challenges that are there. But I think if I look at some of the teams in the league now who've been competing on many fronts, they have larger squads. And it's all about man management. It's all about planning.
On to rugby news, Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus says although his team successfully dealt with a tough Argentinian challenge, the Rugby Championship has not been won yet. Spearheaded by fly half Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu, South Africa thrashed Los Pumas 67-30 in Durban. After a slow and at times bizarre start to the penultimate Rugby Championship clash, the Boks came alive in the second half in Durban. The defending champions ran in 9 tries to 3 as Feinberg Mngomezulu showed why he is considered a world-class talent, and Captain Siyakolisi is proud of the player he is developing into.
No, I thought he was amazing. Not just in the way he scored tries and all those kind of. I think the way he controlled the game, control and balance, and I think the guys around him, as coach said, they helped him a lot in making decisions. But I think when we click as a team, every single player, within our system is able to show who they are, and that's what the coaches always speak to us about it. They pick us for a certain reason. We all have a point of difference, and one of these is running with the ball.
Let's end with golf news. Europe have retained the Ryder Cup after late rallies from Shane Lowry and Tyrrell Hatton put an end to a spirited USA fight back at Bethpage Black and sealed a narrow 15-13 win. The away team stood on the brink of glory early on Sunday after hammering Keegan Bradley's side following a farcical day 2. And for their effort, but they did nothing. It was time for an outright win from them. Hatton securing a draw against Colin Morikawa to win the competition as the Ryder Cup comes back to Europe after a famous weekend. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fidel Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. This September, Channel Africa celebrates Heritage Month, a time to honor the stories, the rhythms, and the languages that make us who we are. Whether you're in Lagos or the shores of Zanzibar, to the mountains of Lesotho or the markets of Dakar, we are united in diversity.
Najivunia kuwa Mwafrika.
Kukondolera Afrika ndiye nto wake.
Proudly African and fabulous.
Let us preserve our languages. Let's embrace our uniqueness. Let's embrace our cultures and celebrate the beauty of our continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
All right, let's move on to get our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and good morning. The introduction of a citizenship by investment program should serve as a win-win for both Botswana and the foreign investor. This is the sentiment expressed by Botswana-based personal finance educator and human rights activist Sethumo Ngatani. Botswana's President Duma Boko has announced plans to introduce a citizenship by investment program as the country seeks to diversify its economy away from its reliance on diamonds. The program aims to raise funds and secure Botswana's financial future. Mongatani says that the program should seek to create long-term investment.
Yes, they create jobs, but in the end, they do not really benefit Botswana in the long term. So part of the diversification value is not just to get into other minerals. As the president has said, it's not just to look at industries such as manufacturing, but it's to look at the longevity of the value that is created.
Malawi's President-elect Peter Mutharika has announced the plans to engage the International Monetary Fund on the possible resumption of the extended credit facility once he takes office. Speaking from his Nyambadwe residence in Blantyre during his first public appearance since being declared winner of the 16th September presidential election by the Malawi Electoral Commission, Mutharika says that reviving the economy and strengthening the education, health and agricultural sectors will be key priorities for his administration. Preparations are now underway for his swearing-in ceremony expected next week. Nigeria's High Commissioner to South Africa, Alexandra Timitope Ajayi, says that there is a need to have more than one African country representing the G20. Timitope Ajayi's comments come after South Africa invited Nigeria to host a G20 event in its capital, Abuja. The invitation was extended by South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, to his Nigerian counterpart as part of preparations for the G20 Leaders Summit scheduled for November in Johannesburg. The summit brings together 19 countries along with the European and African Union. Timitope Ajayi comments.
We should have more than one country in the G20. You understand? Because you look at the size of the continent, you look at the size of the economy of some of the countries in the continent, you pick South Africa and Nigeria. We are the two leading continent. So it's a vision for my president that I want to see Nigeria in the G20.
Nigeria's Dangote Petroleum Refinery has resumed selling petrol in Naira following a brief suspension due to crude supply constraints. The refinery says sales of petrol denominated in Naira were restarting immediately following intervention by the chairman of the Naira for Crude Technical Committee. Customers were advised to begin placing orders in Naira for both self-collection and free delivery to previously designated locations across the country. The dollar was on the defensive ahead of a slew of U.S. economic releases that could provide further clarity on the Federal Reserve's rate path, while the growing risk of a government shutdown there also came into sharp focus. Currency moves were largely subdued in the early Asian session. Against the yen, the dollar was down 0.2% to 149.24 after having risen over 1% against the Japanese currency last week. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,486 naira. In Botswana, it's at 13.24. Kenya, 128 shilling for 87, and Zambia, 23 kwacha 60. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar, 5 rubles 34, Russia, 83 rubles 25, India, 88 rupees 65, China, 7 yuan 13, and in South Africa, the dollar will cost you 17 rand 32 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Gold is trading at $3,792 and platinum $1,609 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $69.80 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabiso Lohoku.
Business on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Nkhanza zokhudza amuna ndi azimayi kapena kuti gender based violence GBV zikuononga mioyo komanso kuphwasula midzi. Zikuchitika m'manyumba, m'masukulu, malo ogwirira ntchito ndipo kwambiri mwakachetechete. Koma sizikuyenera kupitirira. Mukazimva yankhulani. Ngati mwakhudzidwa funani chithandizo, chifukwa kusachita chilichonse sikuthandiza. Mverani kuma wireless onse 14 a SABC kuchokera lachitatu pa 23 mwezi uno wa Julai kuti mumve zokambirana, malangizo, masewero, zionetsero za maphunziro ndi mafunso okhuza nkhanza za amuna ndi azimayi ndi akatswiri, anthu opulumuka ku nkhanzazi, kukhazikitsa lamulo komanso dziko lonse lokhudzidwa ndi nkhanzazi. Zonsezi pa wireless yomwe mumayikonda ya SABC. Imbirani pa nambala 0800 428 428 kuti munene za nkhanzazi kapena kupeza chithandizo. Nkhanza zokhuza amuna ndi azimayi zimatha ndi inu. Uthenga ukufikani kuchokera ku SABC.
9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
architecture like my sister. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa. Speak of you highly and love you deeper. Open your doors, run you a hot bath, open your pores. Grapes and top wine, open your jaws. I'm nothing like them other niggas from before. I'm fighting the stereotype, I'm going to war. Let's go MIA, elope on the shore. Mrs. Me, them legs are gold, I'm Mr. T. Keep them around my neck till I forget to breathe.
I just want to listen to you. Tell me all of the things you want. Tell me all of the things you need. Just sit back and listen to you. Hold you close while I hear you out. We so close I can hear you breathe. 'Cause nothing will matter, 'cause nothing's the same. 'Cause when you're with me, let your past be your pain. 'Cause I won't neglect you, won't repeat the pain, the pain, the pain. I know you thought that I would come and break your heart. No, not today. No, not today. And I know you thought that I would come and add to your scars. No, not today. No, not today.
Hey, good way to start the week. That's Malik Bear with My Way. And that is a beautiful one, taking us to 46 minutes past 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's a beautiful one indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You know, we were just speaking about, how we can identify children who are directly affected by gender-based violence in our communities, in our societies, and also how we help them. And it's really brought up a lot of conversations about how non-communal we have become. Just last week, we were having a conversation about neighbors, right?
Sure.
And I said, I don't know my neighbor's name, but she calls me and says, hey, I'm a few minutes late and my son is coming back from school. His son is still young in primary school, and says, can he come over to your house just for 30 minutes while I make my way home? And the son did come, and I opened the door and he had a seat and I gave him something to eat.
Sure.
And even though I don't know my neighbor's name, she trusted me, right? She trusted me to
I hope
take
your neighbor
care.
is not listening to this show.
That's okay. But I mean, I do love you, neighbor. I know we call each other neighbor. I do love you, neighbor. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done so, right?
Sure.
She trusts me with her son, so much so that now I'll be walking out and the son says, hey, you know what I mean? Hello, Auntie Palesa.
Yes.
So she does know my name and the child does know.
And you don't know.
That's
the
besides
mother's
the
name.
point.
It means the
That
mother
is-
knows your name as well.
That is beside the point. The point is
We
there
need to
is
talk
trust.
about this subject,
The point
not
is,
knowing
the
your
point
neighbor's
is
name and
there
the
is trust.
consequences.
The point is there's trust. And that trust is really not something that we have a lot of in our communities anymore, especially when it comes to our children, because I might not know, I mean, I've only interacted a few times in that closeness with that neighbor's child, and she has about 5 children, I think. I
Okay.
don't know them personally, and I can't tell if my neighbor's kid is going through something. Whereas I know when I was younger, in the communal way that we were raised, I know my next door neighbor's, mother would have known if I needed something, would have known if I was sad or happy, because she knew me, right? She knew how I was. She knew my personality. And we don't really have those interactions anymore. So how do we tell when something's wrong with the child if we don't even know how they would react on a normal basis?
Should we know? That's the big question. I don't think we should know everything about our neighbors, right?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be very impossible and very difficult to achieve.
Yeah, they say
right?
good fences make good neighbors.
Yes, that's good. But I mean, if you do see something harmful in the streets, number one, you should know your neighbors. You should know your neighbors' children.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts. If there is kind of something, I think the first reference point, if I see something happening with my neighbor's child, the first thing I'll do, I'd get on my phone and speak to the parent first.
Yeah.
So what we do, we approach the situation. So I'd speak to them and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Do you want me to intervene? And if I can't get a hold of the parent, then I would intervene. But I think the first reference in the modern times, because we're all parenting differently, is to have the communication and the trust with your neighbor, where you have that open communication. Say, I'm seeing your son in the corner there smoking. Do you know that they smoke? I'm just giving you a heads up that they are doing that. I'm not saying I'm creating trouble for you, but I'm just looking out for you and your son. Because if you are the one going there and say, hey, what are you doing? does your mother know you're smoking? It's not necessarily going to be progressive, right?
Yeah.
But if you are communicating and you have a good kind of open relationship with your neighbors, then it's going to be easier to actually intervene because there is that trust. What most communities are struggling with today is the trust deficit. That's what I'm noticing.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think that as neighbors, as communities these days, we are turning a blind eye, especially to the children in our communities? Or are we just being careful? I mean, it's not the same world that we used to live in, and we don't want to be the ones who end up in trouble. Let's hear your thoughts on this conversation. Send us a WhatsApp voice note or a text on +27 63 406 9126.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Nine to 12 midday Central African Time.
On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, this is a good one. Kade featuring PKMZ and Keita. It's titled Magumba. It's been trending for some time. International dance craze coming from this one. We also did one, Ben and I. So if you've missed it, go to our TikTok page at Channel Africa 1. Scroll down. There's a lot to see there. You'll be able to see when Ben and I did this Magumba challenge. But with keeping things moving after the gender-based violence-focused conversation into another quite intriguing one. It seems like there's been growing concern about Gen Zs being a little conservative, and people are like, hey, are they moving us back, these Gen Zs, to a place where we don't want to be anymore because we fought so much to be liberal, we fought so much to have the freedoms that we have today, and if they're going back to a conservative nature, is that actually good for us? Or maybe are they actually resetting and saying, hey, we need these morals back in our African societies?
The thing is, it's just coming to the conclusion that being conservative leads to regression. You know, I'm a conservative in many ways. I just wonder why people just think that. So I'm very interested in this particular debate, that why does conservatism mean that you just regressive in your idea of liberalism? Because the two are not necessarily against one another. So I'm interested in that, because I think I am a liberal, but you can be a conservative liberal. Mm-hmm. So I'm worried if people kind of put things in boxes and they want things neat. And that's the thing. We don't want things in grays. So it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll find out what those concerns actually are from the guests of our debate.
Sure.
One, of course, who's on the side saying, yeah, I don't agree with the fact that Gen Zs should be more conservative, because it is actually regressive to the liberals or the liberalism that we fought so hard for. And someone else will be saying, hey, there's a lot of moral decay that's contributing to the social ills of our continent, and maybe the Gen Zs being more conservative is trying to bring back some of those morals and do away with some of those social ills. It's going to be a very interesting debate in the next hour of the show.
Yeah, so it's like sections of Gen Z, so we're not generalizing here.
Yeah.
Of course, social media does depict things in as if, you know,
it's a microcosm, right?
It's a microcosm, but it's not necessarily as generalizing that all Gen Zs are conservative, but there are sections of Gen Zs that are showing that conservative interest. So it's going to be an interesting one to unpack.
Absolutely. Find us on our social media platforms. We are there and we are live at Channel Africa 1 is where you can find us on most of our handles. A little bit later, in fact, just now we just put up our On the Move poll that you can find on our X handle. That's at Channel Africa 1. And on today's On the Move poll, we are speaking about this first hour conversation that we just had. Gen Z in Africa. In fact, that's the second hour conversation that we're about to have. Gen Z in Africa is showing a rise in conservative values around dress, religion, and morality. Is this, number one, regression from progress? Is it a moral reset? Is it just identity searching? Or is it a generational clash? You can have your say on today's On the Move poll pertaining to that
those
conversation.
choices because they make the whole thing very complicated, right? So give us your thoughts on that platform indeed. But also, if you're joining us on that live feed, thank you for joining us live on where we stream our live broadcast right now in Johannesburg, South Africa at the SABC. Come in and check out the Vibe in studio, but also that's where you can communicate. And what do you think about Gen Zs being conservative? That's another platform where you can be part of the conversation indeed. Don't forget that WhatsApp number where you can text and voice note us right here on Channel Africa. It's +27 63 406 9126. +27 63 406 9126. We also have that fitness feature coming up in our final hour. I'm looking forward to that one. Pole fitness. I think pole dancing is also part of pole fitness.
It is,
so I'm looking forward to how does that work. Maybe I'll find myself wrapped around a pole if I'm convinced enough. Who knows?
Yeah, well, you might just be. And I've done it once. I've done one session and it's quite fun. So I should definitely keep going.
But you did say it's like physically taxing.
It is difficult. You know, it looks like so much fun. Woohoo, swinging around a pole. But wow, your muscles for days after. And I just did one lesson. So imagine if you're doing it in the long term. But we find out exactly what it targets and how it keeps you fit in the final hour of today's show. It's 10 a.m. Central Africa time. Let's go into that next hour. But first, our news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Top stories this hour. Political analyst weighs in on fears of political killings ahead of local elections in South Africa. And the U.S. Defense Secretary authorizes 200 National Guard troops to be deployed to Portland. Good morning. I'm Jolani Tulo-Webe. Political analyst in South Africa, Professor Begim Gomezulu, says the decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team in the KwaZulu-Natal province was a bad move. This follows the warning of political violence ahead of the 2026 local government elections by the director of KZN National Prosecuting Authority, Elaine Harrison. Harrison gave testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry last Friday. Gomezulu believes that the task team was effective and stressed that this decision could lead to the rise of more political killings in the province.
The decision to dissolve the task team in KwaZulu-Natal was not a correct one, let alone how it was done. Disbanding this particular task team at the time when the country is preparing for the local government election was in fact unwarranted. Then we can talk about the internal processes that they were supposed to follow, which I would not venture into. But the decision itself, in my view, was not a correct one because the task team was effective, and then to disband it meant that you left politicians vulnerable, more especially on the eve of an election.
Civil rights organisation in South Africa, AfroForum, says it's hoping for a guilty verdict in the firearm trial against leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Malema, and his bodyguard, Adrian Snyman. The pair will appear before the East London Magistrates Court today, where the court will deliver its judgment. Malema is facing charges of illegally discharging a firearm in public during the EFF's 5th anniversary celebrations at Sisatu Kashe Stadium in Mdantsane in 2018, while Snyman is accused of unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition. Jacques Bruedryk is the chief spokesperson for AfriForum Community Safety.
I would hope that should they be found guilty, we see a heavy sentence that sends a clear message that politicians cannot do what they want to and get away with it. Unfortunately, in South Africa, we've seen a culture of this developing. If we look at things like the Zondo Commission report, for instance, where they've implicated scores of politicians, nothing has been done to prosecute those people. And that causes more and more politicians start thinking they can get away with what they want to. We see that the general public is losing faith in the criminal justice system, which can lead to all sorts of problems.
Former British Labour Party Member of Parliament Jeremy Corbyn has lauded the South African government for its case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. Corbyn was the keynote speaker during a panel discussion against what they have labelled a genocide against people of Palestine in Polokwane in Limpopo yesterday. The South African government has accused Israel of committing genocide in the Gaza Strip. Corbyn had this to say.
It's important in any struggle to remember that it is more than just the political arguments. It is about the cultural message. It is about the power of song, the power of music and the power of poetry. And also to recognise the Palestinian people have a history, have a past, have a future, have a culture, have fantastic art and fantastic poetry. That we also have to keep alive.
The U.S. Defense Secretary Peter Hegseth has authorized 200 National Guard troops to be deployed to Portland after President Trump announced the Democratic-controlled city would be the latest to see troops move in. The memo said they were authorized to protect federal property after Trump claimed immigration facilities were being targeted by what he called domestic terrorists. On Sunday, the state of Oregon filed a lawsuit trying to prevent the deployment. And finally, scientists say people may age faster if their father smoked during puberty. A new study found boys aged 15 and under who smoke may cause damage to developing sperm cells, which can then be passed on to future children. They found that those whose fathers who began smoking during puberty were on average around 9 months to a year older than their chronological age. Recapping the top story this hour, political analyst in South Africa, Professor Begim Gomezulu, says the decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team in the KwaZulu-Natal province was a bad move. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo-Webe.
SABC News.
the African perspective.
5 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. You are listening to Channel Africa on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628, www.channelafrica.co.za. Don't forget the SABC Plus app. It's so easy. Just download it and put it on your phone, or you can also use the website. It's easy to find there. The SABC Plus is a very wonderful way to listen to Channel Africa as well. I'm looking at some of the conversations that Palesa has shared for me that come from TikTok. I see people talking about this around the emergence of conservative youth. I don't know if it's true. I think people are coming up with assertions and the stereotypes. I kind of listen to some of the conversations and people are taking particular positions against conservatism. And I'm interested in the titles themselves, because they are leaning towards a particular direction. For instance, the first video I saw on TikTok has the headline, "The Emergence or Rise of Conservative Youth in South Africa, Patriarchy and Rejection of Feminism." So it's already making a conclusion in that. And then the second one is saying, "Christian aesthetics in lifestyle content creation makes conservatism look aesthetically pleasing." So it's also making a conclusion. So I'm interested in the debate. Maybe we'll get another side of this conversation.
Yeah, of course we do want another side of the story, but you know, where there is concern, there is a conversation.
Sure.
And if more than 2, 3, 10, 100 people are going on social media and saying, "Hey guys, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are Gen Zs becoming more conservative?" then there's certainly a conversation to be had there. And we're going to be having it here on our On The Move African View debate, where we'll bring two sides of the coin, two sides of the story. One that says, yeah, I see those Gen Zs are conservative, and this may mean that we may be regressing against liberalism. And another side saying, hey, why don't you think about why these Gen Zs are becoming conservative? What are they moving towards? And are they trying to fix a moral decay that has been plaguing our societies here on the African continent? Those are the conversations we're going to be having in a bit. And of course, you're going to join us in those conversations. Let's hear your thoughts on this one. We also have an On The Move poll up on our X handle at Channel Africa 1, and that's the On The Move poll that you can also participate and let us know your views in this conversation. Gen Zs in Africa is showing a rise in conservative values around dress, religion and morality. Is this regression from progress? Is it a moral reset? Is it just identity searching, or is it a generational clash? Let's hear what you have to say on our On The Move poll at Channel Africa 1.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le Diamant Rouge et Binal Export depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Why don't you bring it on my way?
Hold me around my waist. You can take it slow, baby. Control the pace. Way I rotate, baby, that's a little taste. Way I rotate, I'ma put you in your place.
Bad girl, no delay.
Baby, let's shake. I don't wanna stop, baby. I don't need a break. For the rose, you know I don't wanna wait. We can go late, make my body celebrate. I just wanna back it up on beat. Say your name in key. I know what I want from you. You know what you want from me. I just wanna back it up on beat. Say your name in key. I've been waiting on it all week. So tell me where you wanted me to be. Yeah.
Freeze at your back, the way I like it, can't deny. Your body bang like dynamite. You the feel I'm your kind of nice.
See me, eye to eye, we go back to back, we go 9 to 9. Body on it, dynamite. Take you to my posy, we can finalize.
Backstroke on it, swimming in the kitchen till the bus. Do everything to me, but baby, don't stop. You don't even need my consent, killing me, baby. I just want a little bit of your time, make a day so. Make we date tonight, take a joke, call up you. You can call me every time you want more. Move that thing, come rest on me now. I get the kind of way, go make you bend for me now. All night, baby, all night. Bend your back, hold my hand. Now you did make a nigga fantasize. I feel Johnny now you're even night. It's alright, realize. Come on, time, you're my vibe.
I just wanna back it up on beat. Say your name in key.
This is Tyler and Wizkid. This one is titled Dynamite. You tuned into On The Move right here on Channel Africa. Let's go straight into the conversations of this hour of the show. It is time for our African View debate here on Channel Africa.
Absolutely. Today on the African View debate, we are speaking about an outcry on social media where people are saying there is a shift, a so-called shift, because I don't think social media is evidence, but people who are there are saying there is a behavior of Gen Zs on offline where they're seeing something that is a shift to a conservative type of behavior, from dress codes to religion and morality, policing. There seems to be a rising conservatism amongst the African youth. The debate today is Gen Z's rising conservative culture regressive to liberalism, or is it restoring moral decay in Africa? Helping us on this debate, we have Letabo Maluke, who is a dynamic and insightful commentator, a content creator and podcaster. And also we have Anonymous on the line, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. Let's start with you, Letabo. On this question we're asking, is Gen Z's rising conservative culture regressive to liberalism, or is it restoring moral decay in Africa? What's your take?
The rising conservatism is very regressive because it clashes with our progressive constitution, and that's where I want to start, right? South Africa's constitution is one of the most progressive in the entire world. It enshrines values like equality, freedom, diversity, which often conflict with conservative ideologies because they prioritize rigid traditions and hierarchical structures which are often patriarchal. For example, right, under conservatism, it enforces outdated gender roles that restrict individual freedoms or marginalizes groups like the LGBTQ plus community, right? It undermines the constitutional vision of an inclusive society. Conservatism pushes against same-sex marriage and women's reproductive rights, autonomy, agency, and ability to express themselves, which contradicts the Bill of Rights, which guarantees equality regardless of your gender, your orientation, or your belief. So that's where I want to start, yes.
Okay, staying with you, I want to just unpack what being conservative actually means, Letabo, before we go to Anonymous.
So with the current way conservatism is playing out with my generation, is that a lot of women are being pushed to be deeply male-centered, right? They're being encouraged to reject the purpose and
I'm asking for a definition, not what it's doing. Well, how do you define it? Sure.
Having very political views that are so rigid that the only way you can express them is by seeking someone else to instruct you as opposed to yourself. That's the best way I see conservatism, because you are the one who strips yourselves of your personal freedom.
Okay,
that's
all right.
how I see it.
Sure, okay. Let me come to you, Anonymous, as we continue the conversation. What's your take on this question?
Well, hi, Benjamin. Thank you for having me.
For me, conservatism is not necessarily a rigid thinking, but it's a way that we are morally restoring the African continent. I've seen many videos of concern on social media, the concern of Gen Z social conservatism, but what I haven't seen is a viewpoint on why young people have decided to be conservative. The world moves in cycles, and every cycle is necessary at the time. Young people didn't wake up and decide to be conservative overnight, but the phases of generations before that have sparked today's movement, and that is where I want to begin.
And how do you define being conservative?
For me, conservatism is a traditional way of thinking. It's not a rigid way of thinking. It's you going back to your roots, what your parents taught you, what you grew up with, and how you move in the society that you grew up with.
Well, it's a great start to this conversation. Let's come back to you, Lethabo. Now that we've defined and we've seen which side both of you stand on, what are some of the particular, I mean, there are a lot of people who aren't particularly on social media where this seems to be playing out. What are the particular examples of this conservatism that yourself and many others who have shown concern to this are seeing?
In person or online?
Both in person and online. It doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Firstly, online, there's algorithm bias for women and I guess men who have very, inflammatory conversations, right? We live in the era of rage bait where you get rewarded for being contrarian. And often how people express that is by being very traditional. So a lot of people, when you see how women express themselves, the fact that women can legally get abortions, right? Gay people can marry, but more importantly, people have the option to move away from religion. A lot of people descend into this chaos because I do understand that we're in a recession. It's one of the hardest economic times. And during that, people lean more towards religion because it's more about praying for prosperity and abundance, not really about spiritual growth. And so a lot of people love to conflate that with being true to African morality, forgetting that African morality is dynamic and not static, right? It adheres to our challenges. It's supposed to resist colonial oppression and embrace reconciliation post-apartheid. But unfortunately, we have a lot of young Black people going online saying that they feel like they could have thrived better under apartheid, or young women saying that they want to date men or marry men who will lead them. They want to get degrees for the sake of saying, my husband has a wife with a degree and not I need to educate myself. More men are saying they want women who will be submissive and subordinate. But I often argue that I don't think a lot of them are interested in true companionship. They just want the benefits of having, and I'm sorry to get a bit explicit, but someone who is an unpaid sex worker living in your house. And even in public spaces like clubs, there's a rise in hostility towards women, how women are treated at the door, in the club, in the events, how women are spoken to, how women are communicated through, even in professional settings. There's this undermining of looking at women as incapable of thought. And it's very concerning because that's also why we remain as the GBV and rape capital of the world, because people are naturally inclined to be hostile to women because they think it's traditional. Yeah.
And how would you, those examples, how do you link them to being the cause of being conservative? I'm still trying to make up that link.
Okay. So, being conservative, unfortunately, reinforces patriarchal structures, right? Because it's framed as the natural order. And I understand that we are living in a post-apartheid South Africa. It's the first time being Gen Z. It's the first time trying to live through a free country, and 30 years is not enough. Women are still the first to be a matric holder. People are still the first to do so many things. And because of that, people don't know what to do with that personal freedom. It's scary, right? It's very terrifying. And I feel like when you are conservative, you think the only way to maintain the natural order is if you stay on that path. I must marry by this age, do this, and I must do that. But that's the thing. We're supposed to be dynamic, not static, and adapt to these challenges.
All right, this is very interesting. Great takes for both of you as the beginning of this debate is going. Do stay on the line, both of you. We're going to take a short break and come back and unpack this particular debate. Don't forget that you can also participate as you're listening to Letabo and Anonymous debate this particular conversation. You can have your say on our X handle at Channel Africa 1. We have a poll there saying Gen Z in Africa is showing a rise in conservative values around dress, religion and morality. Is this regression from progress? Is it a moral reset? Is it just identity searching, or is it a generational clash? Let's hear what you have to say.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
It is the African View debate right here on The Move. Today's topic is Gen Z's rising conservative culture regressive to liberalism, or is it restoring moral decay in Africa? We're speaking about this, debating this topic is Letabo Maluke, commentator, content creator and podcaster, also known for their engaging perspectives on cultural and social issues impacting Africa, with a keen interest in the intersection of youth, culture, morality and societal change. We also have Anonymous in this conversation that feels that moral decay has been the biggest contributing factor to many of the social ills that we face in today's African society, and they are here to debate this matter further. Anonymous, let me come to you. In your opening statement, you spoke about morality and moral decay. Let's speak about why you think that conservativeness, or Gen Z's conservativeness, that, as you said, didn't just happen overnight, has been a natural progress of things. How do you think it sought to deal with the issues of the moral ills that we face in our societies?
I feel conservatism helps deal with the moral decay in our society, because if you look at the youth today, they are all obsessed with hookup culture, drinking, smoking heavily, sometimes not even dressing appropriately outside and in front of younger children. So being a conservative just helps you to come back and have a moral compass, and helps you to see what you can and cannot do in public, you know.
I see. I'm so glad that in this conversation today, we have two Gen Zs who are actually having this conversation, because it's not a conversation that's happening from the outside in. It is those Gen Zs who are saying, hey, I think this is right and I think this is wrong. Let's bring it back to you, Letabo. You heard what Dumi has said. There are a lot of social ills that we face today. Gender-based violence is one of them. We heard there are campaigns here at the SABC dealing with that. And we do see some of this behavior happening with young people everywhere, right? The drinking, the smoking, hookup culture. Those are part of a generational impacts that have happened not just now, but in many years. Do you think that what Anonymous is saying is right, to say that, hey, maybe Gen Zs aren't just waking up and deciding to do this. They're seeing a need for moral values to come back into our society?
Okay, so I disagree and agree, because I fully understand what Anonymous is saying. There is truth to a lot of what Anonymous is saying about the fact that Gen Z definitely has an alcohol problem, right? And it's because alcoholism is branded as simply having fun, because it's more accessible. Sometimes it's affordable depending on who you are. The fact that we have all these drink specials bombarding us every day. There's a mojito special every day. There's a happy hour. And also it's become a part of social media culture to flex with how much alcohol you can buy, how many bottles you can own. So I do think that Anonymous is on the right path with that. There's definitely a glorification of alcoholism, but masking it as just being young and having fun. But also, even within hookup culture, I think it's very funny that Gen Z kind of like is on the side of sexual liberation, but we are also part of the generation that is scared to get diagnosed or tested for STDs. So I also agree with Anonymous on that. Like, we have this fear of having genuine interest in our
Sure.
sexual health, because I think sexual liberation also includes protecting yourself and protecting your potential sexual partners. But Gen Z still is stigmatized against those things while simultaneously participating in hookup culture. I think that's weird.
That's interesting
Yeah.
that you say that. And I want to bring it back to you, Anonymous, and find out your thoughts, because I wanted to dissect some of the things that Letabo associated with being conservative. I'm a conservative, I'm a Christian, I'm a churchgoer. But some of the things that he said kind of were things that I also don't agree with. Like, I don't agree with oppressing the LGBTQ plus community as a conservative. I'm against the abuse of women and mistreating women as a conservative. I'm not conforming to a patriarchal system as a Christian. So I think at times we take negative connotations of what's happening to society and we link it to being conservative. Do you think that some of those linkages that Letabo was highlighting around the fact that, you know, conservatives are patriarchal, conservatives are people who resent the LGBTQ plus community, do you think those are fair stereotypes of the conservative groupings?
Yes, Benjamin. I think they are stereotypes, but I'm also against the abuse of the LGBT community, the abuse of women and children. But I think it's associated with conservatism because of the origins of it. Like, when you look at the history of conservatism, it's mostly associated with religion, and religion is mainly patriarchal. And in the olden days, it was said that the man is the head, the woman is the neck. So the man being the head, you listen to the man, you become submissive, and you agree to the abuse that you are subjected to.
Sure.
So yes, I do agree that being a conservative, you do get stereotyped in that way, that you are for abuse, you are for all the negative stereotypes that you are subjected to. So yes, I know.
I see. So let's get some of both your closing statements. I'll continue with you, Anonymous. In light of the debate that we're having today, and you saying that Gen Z's conservatism, rising conservatism, is restoring moral decay in Africa, give me your closing statement on your assertion.
Conservatism may be seen as a problem, or rather backwards to liberals, but because we are so closed off, Conservatism may be seen as a problem, or rather backwards to liberals, due to the traditional ideologies that it holds, and how hard our ancestors worked for us to get liberated. But in a world filled with many viewpoints on how to live, where you should be at a certain age, being conservative saves you from being pulled in different directions and stipulations about your life.
Well, that's a great final statement. You know, your assertion saying, hey, there's so many things going on here, and that choice by young people to be conservative is actually saving them from being pulled in different directions. They're asserting themselves as who they are and to move in the world in a particular way. Let's get your closing statements as well, Letabo.
Okay, so my closing statement is heavily inspired by this book called Power and Faith by Bonso Pilani, which investigates how the evangelical church, is shaping our democracy. And I think a lot of why we see this rise in conservatism is because we have a lot of Christian right-wing groups being funneled into the country, and how they do it is mostly through the mega churches. I mean, you see a lot of young people who are now anti-LGBT or like ex-LGBT, as in they were once gay, but now they're talking about how they were saved. So we're living through this rise of Christianity not as spiritual enlightenment, but as a component to white supremacy, and that often deals with, restricting our movements, restricting our expression, because the more conservative you are, the more easier it is for you to align with white supremacy. So I think the rise in conservatism is regressive because honestly, you're always teetering on the line of white supremacy. Like, you're always flying too close to the sun. It goes from I'm protecting myself by not doing XYZ to you becoming very internally anti-Black very quickly. So that's my closing statement.
Well, the Gen Zs have spoken. Thank you to both of you, Letabo, as
Very
well as
interesting.
Anonymous,
Wow.
for participating in this debate. And your views were incredible on
Sure.
both sides.
Yeah.
And your assertions on what you see and what you see as a reflection of your own generation really is, amazing to hear. Thank you to both of you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, whether you're a Gen Z or not, you can also participate in this debate. Whether you've seen that rise in conservative among the Gen Zs, let us know on our On The Move poll at Channel Africa 1. Gen Z in Africa is showing a rise in conservative values around dress, religion and morality. Is this regression from progress? Is it a moral reset? Is it just identity searching? Or is it a generational clash? At Channel Africa 1, that's our On The Move poll. It's 10:30. Once again, time for our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Let's bet off with cricket news. India beat Pakistan by 5 wickets in a tense final to retain the Asia Cup at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium. It was the third meeting between the rivals at the tournament, and success for India earned them a 9th title. Both sides again refused to shake hands as they had in the two earlier fractions encounters. The India players did not reappear for the trophy presentation, and Indian Cricket Board Secretary Devajit Saikia later said the players refused to accept the winner's trophy from Asian Cricket Council President Moshni Navki, who is also the chairperson of the Pakistan Cricket Board. The two nations engaged in a brief military conflict in May, which Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi referenced when congratulating the players on social media. Even before that conflict, the cricket teams would only face each other at neutral venues. On to football news. Kaizer Chiefs interim coach Cedric Gazi cut an animated figure during the team's progression into the second round of the CAF Confederations Cup preliminary qualifiers at the weekend. Goldie Lelepo scored the only goal of the match against Kabuskop of Angola. Kaizer Chiefs sporting director Kaizer Mutaung Jr. says they were very strategic this season in recruiting not only quality and experienced players but also those who have played at this level.
Definitely does. I mean, part of the recruitment process was to get experience, people who've been there, done that, who can come and impart some of that experience into our younger players. And mind you, we've got younger players who were part of the reason why the club ended up going to the final. I think if we look at the squad and the team on the day that qualified us for the knockout stages, we had 5 academy players in the starting in that on the field at the time to be able to qualify for the knockout stages, Champions League, which we hadn't done before. So many of those players are still in our ranks. So it bodes well.
Mudaung Jr. has explained why the club has not released most of their young players on loan this season. He says they believe that this is the best way to handle the players' management.
Oh, at the end of the day, if we didn't have the size of squad we had last year, given all the injuries that we had, we probably would have just been playing the league games and cup games with our DDC team, So we're very, very lucky to have the size of squad that we did have last year, with whatever challenges that are there. But I think if I look at some of the teams in the league now who've been competing on many fronts, they have larger squads, and it's all about man management. It's all about planning.
On to athletics. Kenya 4-time world champion Faith Kipyegon has disclosed that she will venture into more distant races next season as she begins to prepare herself to slowly transition from a traditional 1,500-meter distance. Kipyegon has dominated the race over the years, but with an eye of switching in the coming years, has slowly started moving up with the vision of one day following in the footsteps of training partner, 2-time Olympic marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge. Kipyegon had competed in the 5,000-meter race at both the Olympics and the World Championships, winning silver, losing to the best friend Beatrice Chebet in the two occasions. The 31-year-old believes that she will one day conquer the marathon just the same way she has in the 1,500-meter, and the secret, she believes, is building up with the distance track competitions. Let's wrap with tennis news. Amanda Anisimova came through a marathon first set tie break to beat Shuai Zheng of China 7-6, 11, 6-love in the third round of the China Open in Beijing. The third-seeded American missed 6 set points and saved 3 of her own before finally securing the tie break in 11:13. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figede Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Comment est-ce que les militants et sympathisants du parti Les Transformateurs ont-ils réagi face à la condamnation de Succès Masra?
La condamnation de Succès Masra ne nous a pas surpris et les militants transformateurs ont été bouleversés et indignés étant donné que le verdict est un verdict lourd, illégal, injuste et donc face à la répression dans laquelle le peuple tchadien est confronté, les militants transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Thank you, Figile Lengwati, for that sports update. Let's bring back Tabi Solehoko for our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and good morning. The introduction of a citizen buy investment program should serve as a win-win for both Botswana and the foreign investor. This is the sentiment expressed by Botswana-based personal finance educator and human rights activist Sethumo Ngatane. Botswana's President Duma Boko has announced plans to introduce a citizenship buy investment program as the country seeks to diversify its economy away from its reliance on diamond. The program aims to raise funds and secure Botswana's financial future. Mongatane says that the program should seek to create long-term investment.
Yes, they create jobs, but in the end, they do not really benefit Botswana in the long term. So part of the diversification value is not just to get into other minerals. As the president has said, it's not just to look at industries such as manufacturing, but it's to look at the longevity of the value that is created.
Malawi's President-elect Peter Mutharika has announced plans to engage the International Monetary Fund on the possible resumption of the extended credit facility once it takes office. Speaking from his Nyambadwe residence in Blantyre during his first public appearance since being declared winner of the 16th September presidential election by the Malawi Electoral Commission, Mutharika said that reviving the economy and strengthening the education, health and agriculture sectors will be key priorities for his administration. Preparations are now underway for his swearing-in ceremony expected next week. Nigeria's High Commissioner to South Africa, Alexandra Timitope Ajayi, says there's a need to have more than one African country representing the G20. Timitope Ajayi's comments come after South Africa invited Nigeria to host a G20 event in the capital, Abuja. The invitation was extended by South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, to his Nigerian counterpart as part of preparations for the G20 Leaders Summit scheduled for November in Johannesburg. The summit brings together 19 countries along with the European Union and the African Union. Timitope Ajayi comments.
We should have more than one country in the G20. You understand? Because you look at the size of the continent, you look at the size of the economy of some of the countries in the continent. You pick South Africa and Nigeria. We are the two leading economies in the continent. So it's a vision for my president that I want to see Nigeria in the G20.
Nigeria's Civil Aviation Authority is looking into certifying China's C919 jet for the country's carriers. This as Nigerian Airlines takes on more aircraft and relations warm up with Beijing. Chinese plane maker Comac the narrow-body C919 to compete with leading Western plane makers. Airbus and Boeing has held several talks with Nigeria over the aircraft. European shares inched up as healthcare and technology shares rose while investors focused on a possible US government shutdown that could delay the release of key economic data. The Pan-European Stock 600 rose 0.2% to 555.8 points, coming off a flat finish. The previous week, healthcare stocks were some of the top gainers early on. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,486 naira. Botswana 13.24. Kenya 128 shilling for 87, and Zambia 23 kwacha 60. The BRICS countries and Brazil's the dollar will cost you 5.34. Russia 83 rubles 25. India 88 rupees 65. China 7 yuan 13. And in South Africa the dollar will cost you 17 rand 32 cents. 74 pence British pound, 85 to the euro. Gold is $3,792 and platinum at $1,609 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $69.80 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabisolo Huku.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
On the move, weekdays, 9 a.m. to midday.
Only on Channel Africa. Hashtag on the move.
This is my place. This is my space. I was here first. Ooh, grab a seat, get comfortable. This is my place. This is my space. I was here first. Ooh, grab a seat, get comfortable. Did I suffer for another woman? Did I endure pain, inexplicable pain for another lady? No, baby, I'll be damned if I walk away just to let her have a taste of your love, my love, real love, built on my tears, pain, sweat, and blood. No, I'm never giving up. No, I'm never letting up. So I'm holding on, no letting go. So baby, grab a seat, get comfortable, 'cause this my place, my space. call dibs on what is mine. She can't have you. You're my life, can't you see? I know we aren't meant to be, but there is something inside of me, and it won't budge, stays in my head. My patience is thin as a thread. Baby, don't test me. Oh, oh, baby, don't test me. Baby, don't test me. You know I love you. I'll always be there for you. This is my place, baby. This is my space. I was here first.
Oh, I love this song. Libianca, My Place is the name of this one. 10:45 Central Africa time. What a beautiful debate that we had today. And for once, I don't think I would call it heated like we've had on other days, but I think it was quite insightful. You know, having young people, both Gen Zs, speaking from two dynamics of what's taking place in a generation that they are a part of. I found that so interesting.
I found it interesting because it feels like the labels mean something else, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I come from an era where being conservative, you could still be liberal. Mm-hmm. And now we live in ages where these words, conservative and liberal, are codes for something else, right? Mm. And that is alarming for me because that means, you know, we don't allow in our society for gray areas. So if you believe in something, that means you must be for something that is generalized, which is so interesting for me.
I don't think that in particular. I think there is room for gray areas, mm-hmm. but I think, you know, for example, on Ntabo's side and many others that think like him, the concern is that it's happening so much that it could contribute to a regression, and not particularly that it is 100% regressive just because you have a particular viewpoint. Same on, you know, Dumi's side, because even as I was hearing them debate, there were points, very valid points that they both made, agreeing with one another, because even Dumi, I mean, even Anonymous coming from the conservative end of this conversation, saying to us, yes, but I can actually see how conservatism can be seen as contributing to the regression of liberalism because of some of the things that we've seen in history and in our past that are closely associated. So for even someone who is conservative like Anonymous, being able to see how those two tie in together, even on the other side, you know, Letabo saying, yeah, I do see why that conservatism is starting to exist, because those moral decays actually are quite alarming in our societies. Drinking culture, hookup culture, and how that contributes to some of the social ills that we experience. So in those parts of the conversation and the debate, I see how them agreeing to each other's viewpoints has room for gray areas to say, yeah, I do see what's going on the other side, but I still see how this contributes to something else.
All right, let's know your thoughts. Go to our X handle, and we've got our On the Move poll there, and we want to get your contributions on today's conversation, on the conversation we're having in our debate feature today. And there we've pinned it up for you. We're asking the question of around Gen Z's African rise in conservative values, addressing issues around religion and morality. Do you think it's a regression from progression? That's the first option there. Do you think it's a moral reset or just identity researching? Or do you think it's a generational clash? Give us your thoughts there, and we'd love to get your insights. It's moving, but let's keep it moving a little bit faster there. At Channel Africa 1 is our handle on X.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. Nine to 12 midday Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
What them I say? Tell me where you day. Lati Saturday. I go meet you there. Cause I miss you every day. Call me any day. I'll be on my way. I'm one call away. No matter the situation. Girl, I'm no sure. Keep my action. Don't do too much. I love you with passion. Jessica, Jennifer, family Lasha. I will soon be like no more fornication. You run on, baby, massa. Girl, I want some. I said, now you, only you, I want the sanction. Yeah, I'm all yakba for my catalog. But now only you, where I want for my mansion. Girl, I'm not here to they confuse you. Girl, I'm only here to they convince you. That I love and I need and I miss you. Me, I love your body and your melanin. Follow me, go. Give me ginger. Taking me high when my energy low. I never love you, finish, oh. Don't leave me, oh, Roma. Baby, let me take you to Ibiza. Let me put a ring around your finger. If you make the memory to linger, I will give you anything you want. If I go there and I go galant, I no go fear. You do me tumba, but I don't care. I mean my feelings and I just want to make you know. Tell me where you day. Lati Saturday. I go meet you there. Cause I miss you every day. Call me any day. I'll be on my way. I'm one call away. No matter the situation. Girl, I'm no sure. Keep my action. Don't do too much. I love you with passion. Jessica, Jennifer, family Lasha. I will soon be like no more fornication. You run on, baby, massa. Girl, I want some. I said, now you, only you, I want the sanction. Yeah, I'm all yakba for my catalog. When I only you, where I want for my mansion.
It's Fireboy DML. This one is titled Every Day, a beautiful double play of African music. Before that gave you Tamvela Mama with Mukumba. It's 10:57 Central Africa time. We're still having that debate engagement from the second hour. And our On The Move poll is still up and running. I've never been so intrigued by a debate, especially because it's giving me an insight of a generation that I'm not particularly a part of. But if you are, and if you can see the change as well, even if you're a millennial, a baby boomer, anybody else can be a part of this debate. Gen Z in Africa is showing a rise in conservative values around dress, religion, and morality. Is this regression from progress? Is it a moral reset? Is it just identity searching, or is it a generational clash? Right now, things are pretty even throughout, where there is 25% on each one of those options. But I'm sure this poll is going to keep moving towards the end of the show. Let's see what you really think and which side of this debate you're on.
Hey, it's a Monday, so we all fitness in our final hour. We talk all things fitness. It's always fun to do that. Today we're going to be speaking about pole fitness. Yes, we're speaking about pole dancing. And how does that actually work in terms of maintaining your health? I think pole dancers are probably the fittest people on the planet.
Yeah.
So how can you participate in that? Do you think men can do it as well?
100%. I've seen many men participate in pole fitness. In fact, when I went to the studio myself, there were men teaching classes, men attending classes on various levels, beginner, intermediate, expert level. There's even a South African celebrity who has been showing himself. We've had him on the show speaking about his own adventures with pole. So look, it's definitely something for men and women alike.
Yeah, when you think about pole dancing, dancing, you think strip club, right?
Right.
So maybe we should clear up that myth as well.
Yeah.
Because it would be an interesting adventure. All things sexual, dirty, those are the things that come in people's minds. But pole dancing is a little bit more now.
Definitely. So let's anticipate that conversation in a couple of minutes. But first, once again, let's bring back Jolane Tulongwepe, who has our latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Top stories. The Sawa presidential campaigns officially kicked off this weekend in Cameroon, and the U.S. Defense Secretary authorizes 200 National Guard troops to be deployed to Portland. Good morning. Cameroon goes to the polls in 2 weeks after presidential campaigns officially kicked off at the weekend. 12 candidates are in the running for the 12th of October polls. The vote will determine the future of incumbent Paul Biya, who's been in power for 43 years. The 92-year-old Biya launched his campaign by posting an AI-generated video on his official platform X handle to market himself. His former ally, Bello Buba Maigiri, has put his name in the hat for the throne. The ex-tourism minister launched his campaign with a rally in Douala. Maigari told supporters to monitor the vote counting process and reject fraud. He said real change will come from the people. During the event, Maigari presented two presidential candidates, Ateka Seta Kasan and Akere Muna, who have withdrawn from the race and formed a coalition with him. South Africa's Afrikaner lobby group AfriForum, representing Afrikaner interests, says it's hoping for a guilty verdict in the firearm case against DFF party leader Julius Malema and his former bodyguard Adrian Snyman. The pair will appear before the East London Magistrates Court today, where the court will deliver the verdict. Malema is facing charges of illegally discharging a firearm in public during the EFF's 5th anniversary celebrations at Sisa Tukashe Stadium in Mdantsane in 2018, while Snyman is accused of unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition. Last month, Malema was found guilty of hate speech in a case brought by AfriForum, which accused him of inciting hate against Afrikaners. Jacques Broodryk is the chief spokesperson for AfriForum Community Safety.
I would hope that should they be found guilty, we see a heavy sentence that sends a clear message that politicians cannot do what they want to and get away with it. Unfortunately, in South Africa, we've seen a culture of this developing. If we look at things like the Zondo Commission report, for instance, where they've implicated scores of politicians, nothing has been done to prosecute those people. And that causes more and more politicians start thinking that they can get away with what they want to. We see that the general public is losing faith in the criminal justice system, which can lead to all sorts of problems.
Political analyst in South Africa, Professor Bheki Mngomezulu, says the decision to disband the political killings task team in the KwaZulu-Natal province was a bad move. This follows the warning of political violence ahead of the 2026 local government elections by the director of the KwaZulu-Natal National Prosecuting Authority, Elaine Harrison. Harrison gave testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry last Friday. Mngomezulu believes that the task team was effective and stressed that this decision could lead to the rise of more political killings in the province.
The decision to dissolve the task team in KwaZulu-Natal was not a correct one, let alone how it was done. Disbanding this particular task team at the time when the country is preparing for the local government election was in fact unwarranted. Then we can talk about the internal processes that they were supposed to follow, which I would not venture into. But the decision itself, in my view, was not a correct one because the task team was effective, and then to disband it meant that you left politicians vulnerable, more especially on the eve of an election.
Former British Labour Party Member of Parliament Jeremy Corbyn has lauded the South African government for its case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. Corbyn was the keynote speaker during a panel discussion against what they have labelled as genocide against people of Palestine in Polokwane in Limpopo yesterday. The South African government has accused Israel of committing genocide in the Gaza Strip. Corbyn had this to say.
I want to say thank you to South Africa for the bravery in taking the case to the International Court of Justice and for the consequences, which are routine attacks by President Trump and others on South Africa and threats of tariffs against South Africa to damage the South African economy. But South Africa has stood firm and said it stands by its legal action. It stands by its condemnation of the genocide of the people of Gaza and the Palestinians.
The U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has authorized 200 National Guard troops to be deployed to Portland after President Trump announced the Democratic-controlled city would be the latest to see troops move in. The memo said they were authorized to protect federal property after Trump claimed immigration facilities were being targeted by what he called domestic terrorists. On Sunday, the state of Oregon filed a lawsuit trying to prevent the deployment. Recapping the top story, the Sawa Cameroon goes to the polls in 2 weeks after presidential campaigns officially kicked off at the weekend. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Webe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Hey, it's 5 minutes past 11 Central Africa time. It's the third hour of On the Move right here on Channel Africa. And it's been quite an insightful 2 hours so far. I've actually been enjoying the conversations quite well. We started off with our gender-based violence focus conversation, speaking about how we can identify children in our communities that are directly affected by gender-based violence. And life coach and founder of Magents Let's Talk, Tebogo Majokana, helped us on that conversation. Then we had quite an interesting debate, didn't we?
Yeah, it was interesting. We were looking at this very remarkable modern conversation, mainly happening on social media, where people are asking the question, is Gen Z's rising conservative culture regressive to liberalism, or is it restoring moral decay in Africa? Give us your thoughts. We still have the On the Move poll at Channel Africa 1, and we want to get your thoughts on that. Remember, we're asking that question on X, and we're asking it via a poll. Gen Z in Africa is showing a rise in conservative values around dress, religion, and morality. Is this, here are the 4 options, regression from progress? Is it a moral reset? Is it just identifying, searching, or is it identity searching rather, or is it a generational clash? Give us your insights there.
We're about to go into our fitness and nutrition, looking at alternative ways to stay fit, and one of them that's been on the right is pole fitness.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at in a few minutes. Do stay with us right here on Channel Africa.
Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge.
Freedom, toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which have brought results. Kwame, the star of Ghana, Nkrumah, star of Ghana, everybody toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which have brought results. Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana, land land of freedom, everybody toils of the brave, and the sweats of their labors, toils of the brave, which have brought results. Gold Coast will thank Nananum and elders, late Gisli Hayford, Mensan Saba, Bar Grant, Sergeant Ajete, and all who fought for freedom. Everybody, toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors.
Oh, this is a beautiful one, an assertion of Ghana's freedom. That's what it's called, Ghana Freedom, E.T. Mensa, coming through on this one. It's 10 minutes past 11 Central Africa time. We're about to go into our fitness and nutrition feature after this.
Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et votre 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
There are many ways to skin a cat and just as many ways to keep fit if you want to be on your fitness and nutrition journey. After Benjamin and Peter's no sugar challenge flopped, Ben actually decided to take another route in this accountability partnering.
After Peter flopped?
After Peter flopped. I mean, it was your guys' thing, but it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
But you decided to take an alternative route. You've actually put together quite a number of people here at our Channel Africa studios, in fact in our entire Channel Africa office, and everybody's been adding more people to this group where we show each other our own accountability for our fitness. So it's not particularly one thing. I saw one of the presenters here showing us a beautiful kick in the air, showing us that she did a run. She did a run that day. Other people are showing how much water they're drinking, how much food, what kind of food they're eating.
had a very interesting one.
Yeah,
she was swimming.
Yes, exactly.
So that's how she stays fit.
Yeah, some people saying, hey, I actually went out and I was dancing. I took a number of steps during that dance. So I'm showing you my step count on that one. So it's been quite interesting to see how many avenues that people can take to stay fit.
Sure.
And people are actually trying alternative ways to fitness because the traditional gym route isn't for everyone. So that's where we're going today. We're finding adventurous, fun, and alternative ways to fitness. And one of those that's actually been on the rise is pole fitness. For many, you would call pole dancing is what a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And that has been associated with like strip dancing and, that sort of thing in the past. But now people are actually using pole dancing as a way to keep fit and pole fitness in all its different areas for overall wellness. We're finding out a little bit more about this with a health coach and the founder of Pole Culture, Katlego Mafutsa, who's joining us on our live stream. Katlego, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you? Are you there, Katlego?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm just going to ask you to project your voice a little bit so we can hear you better. But we also see you beautifully there on our live stream.
I can see the poles in the background.
Yeah, that is actually so cool. Katlego, pole in itself has had negative associations in the past, and nobody has ever in the past thought of it as an avenue for fitness, but rather, something to go and view and observe in the strip clubs. But it seems like that notion has changed, right?
So yes, pole dancing, it stems from the strip dancing. So I don't see it as a negative view. It is where it's birthed from. And it wasn't until the late 80s, so 1990, 1989, when one of the strippers decided to open up pole dancing to regular women. And they opened up the first pole dancing studio in Canada, I think, Canada or the US. And then ever since, we've been seeing like a very steady, a very slow rise. But I would say in the past 5 years or so, the sport itself has grown immensely, and it's very beautiful to witness and to be a part of.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to see if we can sort out that line. We're going to take a bit of a break. We heard you a little bit. Just want to get it a little bit clearer. We'll just take a bit of a break to settle that particular line so we can have this lovely conversation. It's a great one indeed. So we want to have that clear line. Stay with us there right here on Channel Africa. Hey, what do you think about pole dancing? Remember, want to get your thoughts as well on this one. Tell us what you think on our live stream on Facebook and also on YouTube. WhatsApp us on +763 406 9126. Let's sort out that line.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Kabla ya kwenda mbali zaidi, tuanze kwanza kwenye background yako, maana kila kazi, kila jambo linakuwa na historia yake. Riziki Alema ni nani?
Riziki Alema ni mwimbaji wa nyimbo za Injili, ni mama na ni mke pia.
Umesema wewe ni mama wa familia pia. Vipi unagawa muda wako namna gani kwenye masuala ya muziki na majukumu ya familia?
Okay, cha kwanza sio jambo rahisi, lakini ni anaweza sema upande mwingine ni rahisi kama utakuwa umejitambua. Kwa sababu mbaya ni ile kuchukua masuala ya masaa ya kazi na masaa ya familia na masaa ya huduma. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri tu mimi huwa natenganisha. Nikiwa ndani sio Riziki Alema, sio mwimbaji. Nikiwa ndani najua mimi ni mke na ni mama pia.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Our fitness coach, her name is Yvonne Dimagazo Pasha. How to remain consistent with gyms, Dima, and I'm going to put you on the spot right now. As we are talking, I will send you my picture and I want you to tell me what you think I should work on. Because, when I look at myself, Dima, I think I'm very handsome. I'm so good looking, oh my goodness. Like here at Channel Africa where I work, I think I'm one of the most good-looking people ever. Like sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror, I never get used to how good I look. I'm just amazing.
You're okay with the way you're looking? You wish people could and now you want to put me on the spot.
Do I need gym?
Yeah. I mean, if you can just consider eating healthy, cutting down a few foodstuffs such as junk.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege, Benjamin Moshatama, and Palesa on the move.
All right, we have Katlego Mafuta back on the line. That is a health coach and founder of Pole Culture, helping us explore a great alternative way to fitness through pole dancing and pole fitness. Katlego, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, much better.
Much better. I love that. Okay, let's speak about this a little bit. You were giving us a little bit of history around how pole dancing became pole fitness and how, back then a strip dancer decided to open classes where people could learn to pole dance. But why is this even fitness? I mean, it seems just like fun. How did this turn into a fitness avenue?
So So basically with pole dancing, you lifting your body up, right? So it's no different to like body weight training. So you'd be surprised until you get onto a pole. Needed, like you have to really work on being very strong. You don't necessarily have to be strong to start pole dancing, but the goal will be you working towards being strong, because you do need the strength to be able to do even the most basic of moves like climbing a pole. You've got that pulling strength, so you're pulling yourself up, you're pulling your entire weight. A lot of people can't even do like a pull-up, right? So whereas in pole dancing, you are required to get into the habit of pulling your body weight up. So it is fitness. Flexibility is also required to be able to access some of the moves. Mobility as well. You want to have good range of motion in terms of joints, so that you avoid getting injured. So it is quite a strong practice. It's always, it never gets old for me when people try pole dancing for the first time and they're like, oh my God, I did not realize how much work goes into this.
Yeah.
Your heart rate goes up.
Sure.
I've got a lot of people who say their heart rate goes to like 160
Great.
and above. So there's cardio, there's endurance,
Yeah.
There's flexibility, there's strength, and obviously there's other mental benefits that accompany that as well.
I love that you called it a practice. We'll come back to what that means, but a lot of people have stereotyped pole fitness or pole dancing. Of course, it's because of where it comes from. What are some of the stereotypes that you as a practitioner are trying to demystify in the space of fitness?
I think that's the only main one, right? And I think it's just acknowledging that people are not wrong in thinking that way, but bringing them back to say that, yes, there is that part of it, which is still very much an active part of it to this day. It's not like it was back in the days and no one does it that way.
Sure.
But also to say that this is a very multifaceted sport rather. There's sensual, there's an essential element to it, and there's an athletic element to it. You can combine the two, or you can have them separately depending on your level of comfort as an individual. And I think, so that's the one thing that I definitely would say. And it's just try, just give it a shot. And then if you go to that first class, you will get to see that this is actually indeed a workout.
You mentioned a lot of benefits and things that are necessary for your body to do when you are participating in pole fitness. That is strength, obviously the pulling of your body, using your own body weight to pull yourself up. You mentioned agility. You mentioned, your joints as well.
Heartbeat rate.
Your heart rate as well. But for someone who doesn't have all those things, why then? I think I would be scared to go and try out pole fitness. By the way, I have done one class and I came back to tell Ben that, oh my goodness, it's so much harder.
She was
than
so tired.
It looks. So if someone doesn't have those things already, how are they going to build them through pole fitness?
Thank you so much for that question, Palesa, because that's always what I get. People are like, oh, I'm not strong enough. I have zero upper body strength. And I think especially as women, because it is a female predominant sport. There are men who do it, but not a lot. So a lot of women always feel very insecure and they feel like they're not strong enough. And I always say to them, I'm like, you don't join the gym because you're fit. You join the gym to get fit. So even with pole dancing, it's the same concept. You don't have to be strong. If you're strong, great, but if you're not, you can still use the pole to build your strength, right? So you can use it as like what you said in the beginning, if you do not enjoy the gym, you can use it as an alternative way to work on strengthening your body. How our classes are structured, and I think most studios do that, is that we start with a warm-up, like about 10 to 15 minutes warm-up. Again, to get the body ready to do what it needs to do. And we also have conditioning, right? So this is doing strength moves that will help you build the strength before we get onto the pole. So it's not like, hey, let's all get onto the pole, survival of the fittest. If you are not strong enough, then sorry for you. You get nothing out of it. So I'm not sure, Palesa, with where you went, how you found it, but the structure is always warm up conditioning and then pole, and then
Sure.
you get onto getting onto the pole to do the actual pole dancing. And obviously, with time, with everything in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some different pole fitness individuals on social media. It trends a lot. And I've been surprised as well to see plus size women actually on pole dances, because conventionally you think it is someone who has to be all skinny and become like a conventional model. But there are all types of body sizes that actually can adapt to pole fitness.
Oh, love that point. And thank you so much for bringing it up. Yes. There is a lot of thicker or bigger bodied women who are doing pole dancing. And like with any form of body weight training, especially when you're having to pull yourself up, it is indeed more challenging for them to learn to pick their body up because they're dealing with a heavier weight. But it is not impossible. There's so many people who so strong, you know, and I think that's what I love about pole dancing. You know, it's not about what your body looks like. For me personally, I found that it removed me from the old, when I used to do when I strictly used to do just traditional gymming, I was more concerned with the aesthetic of my physique rather than what my body can do in the state that it's in the shape that it's in. And that's what I find that pole dancing does it did for me, and it does for a lot of women. You know, there's a lot of women who, again, say like, oh, I think I need to lose weight before. I'm like, no, it's fine. It will be challenging, but you'll get there. And you see a lot of bigger bodied women getting all the way to the, you know, to the pole like this. It's just, and it's so rewarding and so fulfilling and so amazing, especially when they get to do it, because they get to see what their bodies are capable of, and they start to believe more in themselves, and they start to appreciate their bodies for, again, like whatever state that they're in. And it's no longer just, I need to lose weight, I need to look a certain way, and wow, you know what I mean? And that's what I absolutely love about pole dancing.
Now, let's speak a little bit about the benefits of this particular exercise, because it is exercise after all. And many of the times when you do a particular exercise, you want to understand what it targets. Like if you go to the gym, you go to particular machines because today I'm working on my arms, tomorrow I'm working on my legs. When you participate in pole fitness consistently, what are some of the changes that you'll start seeing and the progress that you'll start to make?
So the nice thing about pole dancing is, and that's the feedback I get, and I mean, I remember also from my own personal experience, is the day after, or maybe a day or two, you feel pain everywhere, like in parts of my bodies that I didn't know existed. I didn't know I had muscles.
Palesa said exactly that.
I said that.
Yes. So it's like, I'm like, what do you mean I've got a muscle there? You know what I mean? So it really is a full body practice. It's a movement where you get to engage everything. You know what I mean? You using, again, your arms, your lats, your triceps, your biceps to pull yourself up. But you also need to engage your core to be able to do that. And then you also lifting your legs up. That is your hip flexors, your quads. You know what I mean? And in some movements, you're having to squeeze the pole with your with the back of the knee. So again, you engaging your calf muscles there. So I mean, I see a lot of ladies sometimes, even myself as well, when you haven't really used certain muscles, like you'll be upside down and then your toes are cramping. You know, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know toes could cramp. I didn't know my calves could cramp. So you are literally employing almost every single muscle in your body.
Yeah.
I think when I ask people after pole class, or like after their first pole class, I'm like, where does it hurt? They're like, everywhere. And I'm like, yes, you were doing the right thing. You were fully committed to the practice in class and you applied yourself. So it really is a full body practice.
Yeah, I also don't want to desexualize pole dancing, because at times we overdo that as well, because some people are doing pole fitness so they can feel a little bit more sexier. Some people are doing it because they want to do it with their partners as well. Maybe they want to get a pole in the bedroom. And it has also those benefits, doesn't it? Just to make you feel a little bit more sexier.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, once you're comfortable and confident in your body, that is sexy. You know what I mean? Like what you do with the sexy and how you want to sort of translate it or how you want to act it out is completely up to you. But the minute you love your body, the body that you're in, the way it looks like in its current state, I mean, that is the most sexiest thing ever, right? And you can do anything. And I think it definitely does translate into certain areas. And, you know, I mean, if you're able to perform for someone, most of us are very, very self-conscious, you know, so it gets you there where you feel, again, if you get to appreciate your body for what it does, it will translate in you loving your body as it is. Once you love your body the way it is, then you are confident and comfortable in your body, and that will automatically make you feel sexy.
Yeah, Katlego, I hear Palesa saying that even the guys can join in.
Absolutely. We do have some guys, not a lot of guys.
Okay.
I've had guys say that their masculinity is a little bit too fragile to try pole, but all you need is a body.
Okay.
Like, we literally use arms, legs, core, and both men and women have those.
I love that. I love that. Well, I see you're out there in Kempton Park. That's closer to where Benjamin stays. It's a bit far from me. So I think I will dare Ben to come and do one lesson with you, Katlego. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea.
Yay.
And you should document it.
Oh, yeah,
Give
no,
feedback.
I'll bring the social media team from Channel Africa to document it.
I love that. Well, Katlego, let us know about pole culture. Where can we find you online and on the socials?
So Pole Culture, we are based in Kempton Park. We are both on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Pole Culture SA_.
Thank you so much. That is Katlego Mafotsa telling us a little bit about how we can go into an adventure of fitness through pole fitness. She is the founder of Pole Culture and a health coach.
Nice one.
And Ben is going to go there to try a lesson. You did. You just said you were going to take the social media team.
No, I was just kidding.
Yes, you did.
That's
it's 11:31 Central Africa time.
You always put me in these
Speaking about
situations.
other sports outside of Ben trying pole dancing, let's get Fikile Lungwati back for our latest sports news. You're going, Ben.
I'm not doing it.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Now, sports update. We begin with football news. Bafana sponsors Honor are sending a group of supporters to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON tournament in Morocco later this year. It's not only Bafana who are benefiting from this deal, but the other national teams as well, including Amajita. This particular sponsor also paid for Amajita's camps before they departed for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, including their send-off function. Zoe, who is the CEO of the company Honor, says it's always important to put the players first in these kinds of relationships.
As a partner for Bafana or Amajita, I think as a technology partners for them, I think from our side, we provide, let's say we give the Amajitas the handset, we give them the earbuds clip. So from their side, they can experience a very, let's say, innovation, cutting edge innovations from the, let's say, ecosystem.
Kaizer Chiefs co-interim coach Cedric Kaze cut an animated figure during the team's progression into the second round of the CAF Confederations Cup preliminary qualifiers at the weekend. Goldie Lilepo scored the only goal of the match against Kabuskop of Angola in the second leg of the first round qualifiers as Chiefs leveled the tie before winning 5-4 on penalties at FNB Stadium. Players like Lebohang Mabowe, Paseka Makwe and Thabiso Munyane have experience in CAF Champions League knockout stages, and sporting director at Kaizer Chiefs, Kaizer Motaung Jr. says they were very strategic this season in recruiting not only quality and experienced players but also those who have played at this level.
Definitely does. I mean, part of the recruitment process was to get experience, people who've been there, done that, who can come and impart some of that experience onto our younger players. And mind you, we've got younger players who were part of the reason why the club ended up going to the final. I think if we look at the squad and the team on the day that qualified us for the knockout stages, we had 5 academy players in the starting in that on the field at the time to be able to qualify for the knockout stages, Champions League, which we hadn't done before. So many of those players are still in our ranks. So it bodes well. We're looking forward to making sure that we can get everyone on the pitch, registered in time, and to be able to help for the cause.
In athletics, Kenya 4-time world champion Faith Kipyegon has disclosed that she will venture into more distance races next season as she begins to prepare herself to slowly transition from her traditional 1,500-meter distance. Kipyegon has dominated the race over the years, but with an eye of switching in the coming years, has slowly started moving up with a vision of one day, following in the footsteps of training partner, two-time Olympic marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge. Kipchoge had competed in the 5,000-meter race at both the Olympics and the World Championships, winning silver, losing to best friend Beatrice Chebet in the two occasions. The 31-year-old believes that she will one day conquer the marathon. In tennis news, Amanda Anisimova came through a marathon first set tie break to beat Shuai Zhang of China 7-6, 11 and 6-love in the third round of the China Open in Beijing. The third-seeded American missed 6 set points and saved 3 of her own before finally securing the tie-break at 13-11. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figide Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Comment est-ce que les militants et sympathisants du parti, les transformateurs, ont-ils réagi face à la condamnation de Succès Masra?
La condamnation de Succès Masra ne nous a pas surpris et les militants transformateurs ont été bouleversés et indignés étant donné que le verdict est un verdict lourd, illégal, injuste et donc face à la répression dans laquelle le peuple tchadien est confronté, les militants transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc, c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui, nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
Thank you, Figile Lengwati. Tabiso Lehoko is also standing by to give us our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and good morning. South Africa's commodity-backed rand rose slightly in early trade on higher gold prices, while traders eyed a slew of economic data that could offer clues on the health of Africa's largest economy. The rand traded at 17.29 against the dollar, up 0.2% from Friday's close. Gold surged above the key $3,800 per ounce level for the first time, supported by a weaker dollar and growing expectations that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates further this year. The dollar last traded 0.2% weaker against a basket of currencies. The introduction of a citizen buy investment program should serve as a win-win for both Botswana and the foreign investor. This is the sentiment expressed by Botswana-based personal finance educator and human rights activist Sethu Mongatane. Botswana's President Duma Boko announced plans to introduce a citizen buy investment program as the country seeks to diversify its economy away from its reliance on diamonds. The program aims to raise the funds and secure Botswana's financial future. Mongatane says that the program should seek to create long-term investment.
Yes, they create jobs, but in the end, they do not really benefit Botswana in the long term. So part of the diversification value is not just to get into other minerals. As the president has said, it's not just to look at industries such as manufacturing, but it's to look at the longevity of the value that is created.
Malawi's President-elect Peter Mutharika has announced plans to engage the International Monetary Fund on the possible resumption of the extended credit facility once he takes office. Speaking from his Nyambadwe residence in Blantyre during his first public appearance since being declared winner of the 16th September presidential election by the Malawi Electoral Commission, Mutharika said reviving the economy and strengthening the education, health and agriculture sectors will be key priorities for his administration. Preparations are now underway for his swearing-in ceremony, expected next week. Nigeria's High Commissioner to South Africa, Alexandra Timotope Ajayi, says there's a need to have more than one African country representing the G20. Timotope Ajayi's comments come after South Africa invited Nigeria to host a G20 event in its capital, Abuja. The invitation was extended by South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Lamula, to his Nigerian counterpart as part of preparations for the G20 Leaders Summit scheduled for November in Johannesburg. The summit brings together 19 countries along with the European Union and African Union. Timotopé Ajayi comments.
We should have more than one country in the G20. You understand? Because you look at the size of the continent, you look at the size of the economy of some of the countries in the continent. You pick South Africa and Nigeria. We are the two leading economies in the continent. So it's a vision for my president that I want to see Nigeria in the G20.
European shares inched up as healthcare and technology shares rose while investors focused on a possible U.S. government shutdown that could delay the release of key economic data. The pan-European stock 600 rose 0.2% to 555.8 points, coming off a flat finish. The previous week, healthcare stocks were some of the top gainers early on. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 486. Botswana 13 pula 24, Kenya 128 shilling for 87, and Zambia 23 kwacha 60. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar there will cost you 5 real 34, Russia 83 rubles 25, India 88 rupees 65, China 7 yuan 13, and in South Africa the dollar will cost you 17 rand 32 cents. 74 pence British pound, 85 to the euro. Gold is $3,792 and platinum $1,609 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $69.80 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabisolo Hoko.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Madapiri pazoshitika. Madapiri pazoshitika.
Momalazi Sudan ngeza kuti wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dziko lo Riek Machar akuyenera kuyankha mlandu ofuna kulanda dziko wakupha komanso okonza ziwawa, ndipo mtolankhani wathu nkummawa kwa Africa unene akuwunikirapo.
Muchikalata chomwe chinalengezedwa ndi nduna yoona zamalamulo komanso chilungamo ya dziko la South Sudan, chikalatachi chinalengeza kuti wachiwiri kwa president wa dzikolo Riek Machar apezeka ndi milandu yokupha, yofuna kuwukira boma komanso kulanda dziko ndi kuyambitsa ziwawa. Riek Machar akhala akusungidwa mokakamizidwa ku nyumba kwawo kuyambira mwezi wa Marichi chaka chino. Mwezi wa Marichi asilikali omwe mbuyomu anali mgulu lomwe limagwira ntchito limodzi ndi Machar anamenyana ndi asilikali a boma a South Sudan Defense Forces SPDF mu chigawo cha White Nile dziko
Zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo, lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi Madapiri.
#On the move and connect with us. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
volume. This is Channel Africa. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Tell me how you do. So mommy, I'm gonna get this one is for you. Oh, I say be I on get, be I on get, sure to my lord. Oh, I say be I on get, be I on get, sure to my lord. Oh, I say be I on get, be I on get. Oh, yeah, wake up, here's your tea. Oh, yeah, drink up. You don't need the makeup. Them be vex, them won't make we break up. See, you be my princess. Suffer one, but together we make sense. Worry one knock out we no send. That come as a nonsense. Take this ring, go, be with me for better, for worse, so I go love you tomorrow, titi life forever beyond, no. You know that I got you. Anything where you want, I go buy too. Oh yeah, shabby, I don't get. Sure, my darling. Good morning, almost there, baby. Me, how you do? Sorry, you're fine. I'm singing this for you. My shabby, tell me how you do. So, mommy, I'm gonna get this one is for you. Oh yeah, shabby, I don't get. Be I don't get. Sure, my darling. Oh yeah, shabby, I don't get. My darling, oh yeah, say be a young girl, be a young girl. You go be catch, I go be JJ. If we born boy, you go be AJ. I am Nefa, kudu made. And if your love is a crime, I go jail. See from here to London, unwrap you, I lick you like Tom Tom. I go love you even for junction. You got my attention. Your loving, you put me at ease. I swear you they give me peace. Capture my heart, you they cure my disease. Love me, never leave me, please. You know that I got you. Anything where you want, I go buy too. Oh yeah, shabby, I don't get. Sure, my darling. Good morning, almost there, baby. Me, how you do? Sorry, you're fine. I'm singing this for you. My shabby, tell me how you do. Mommy, I'm gonna get this one is for you. Oh, yeah, be I on that. Be I on that. Sure, my darling. Oh, yeah, be I on that. Be I on that. Sure, my darling. Oh, yeah, be I on that. Be I on that. When you hold me, I can feel your heartbeat. You set my body and my soul and my emotions free. And this is real. My fantasies you make fulfill. Good morning, almost there.
Hey.
Good morning is over. That's
Yes.
good morning.
Well, not
Bye
yet.
bye. It's almost over. We're about to get out of here in 10 minutes' time.
Absolutely. Before that, we gave you Trezo featuring Msaki with Hold Me Down. We are about to get out of here, but the conversations don't stop because we still have our On The Move poll up. So we still have that 10 minutes. If you haven't participated in our On The Move poll yet, hurry up over there. We're saying Gen Z in Africa is showing a rise in conservative values around dress, religion, and morality. Is this regression from progress? Is this a moral reset? Is this just identity searching, or is it a generational clash? Let's hear what you have to say on our On The Move poll. But you can also participate on all our other conversations. We spoke about GBV and children, of course, identifying children who are affected by GBV. We also just spoke about pole fitness, and Ben said he was going to go to pole culture in Kempton Park
I'm not doing
and try
that.
one
Absolutely
session. That's what
not.
Ben
Maybe
said.
one day when I'm a fun dump. But thank you as well to everybody who's been joining us on our socials, right? Thank you to Humble Henry Chimwanza. Thank you to Albert Gondwe. You've been coming in a lot there. Thank you so much for your support throughout the morning. Thank you to Anati Kamela Mgide. Thank you to Akim Mwale and so many of you there. I wish I could mention all your names, and let us know where you are listening to Channel Africa from as soon as you get on that live feed.
Africa It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter? Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard? Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126 and we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So yeah, that's who I am, you know.
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views. Share your opinion. Engage with the community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Hey, a Monday pickup there. Kabza De Small with Wizkid, Benabo, and Casper Nyovest. That one is titled Sponono. Taking us to 55 minutes past 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
Central
there's
African
a Sponono here. Who
Our Sponono.
Our Sponono is Lulu Gabu. And she's here to let us know what's coming up on the Africa ID. Are we making you blush, Lulu?
Yeah, you guys like putting
on a
me
Monday
in the spotlight, right?
No, we get the opportunity to be graced by Lulu Kapu every morning.
Oh
She's
gosh, you
always
guys.
immaculate and beautiful. You know what? Someone must put her in the movie Devil Wears Prada to walk on that runway and wear all those fancy clothing, because she's always walking here like she's a model. Lulu Kapu, you know we love you.
You know what, guys? Yeah, no. Okay, we'll get into it after this because then we're going to get into trouble.
Sure.
All right. So you guys had a good weekend?
We did.
Okay, great. So a lot coming up today. Fires in Namibia, wildfires ravaging literally over a third of the Etosha National Park. So we're going to be unpacking that. That's one of our big stories that we're focusing on. And then also in South Africa, remember the Babita Deokaran story and how she got killed and it was a hit.
She was a whistleblower.
She was a whistleblower in South Africa. And the SIU report is out. We're going to be speaking to an investigator, so to speak, or a PI. I'm not sure what his title is, but we'll be chatting to him today and unpacking exactly what this means. Because in all of this, two names are coming up. Kat Matlala, Vusmuzi, Kat Matlala, and how do my trail of thought now? Maumela, who is allegedly the president's nephew.
Yes.
So we're going to be unpacking, allegedly. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Let's emphasize
exactly, allegedly.
They mustn't come for Channel Africa.
No, they must not. But it is Maumela. I remember the surname. So
cool.
we're going to be focusing on that story, and it is a big one because what's happening now is the Madlanga Commission, and today there's Dumsani Kumalo, who is now unpacking the details of what the Provincial Commissioner of KZN, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, delved into, but not too much detail, and the Police Commissioner, Masimula. So there's a lot happening in South Africa, not only in South Africa, just across the globe.
Absolutely. Okay, we're looking forward to that. That's Lulu Gabu with the Africa Update.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun today, and we really appreciate you for joining us on the show. Let's do it again tomorrow. Have a great day, Africa.
Hey, we leave you with Tyler, number one with the Thames. Are they having beef, these two? Or what's going on with that?
I don't think Thames and Tyler are having beef.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of something between Tyler and Ira Star. It's not their own beef. I think people are trying to make them
create the beef
from dance moves and outfits.
And what's with the Americans and beefing with Tyler as well?
It's the whole. The colored.
And in
America, there is
they
no
don't
colored.
understand
It's black.
it. They don't get it. Okay, that's how. Let's go. We'll never leave the studio because we love being here. Until next time, God bless.